up, guys? I'm so happy you clicked on this video, and today this is gonna be all about why the moon landing is fake and what's going on with NASA. So let's get into it.
All right, today we're exploring the first moon landing, the controversies around its authenticity, and the insane idea of Katy Perry going to space.
That's great.
So for the next 3 segments, we're going to be talking about the historical background of the moon landing, everything that happened, and we're also going to be talking about the authenticity of like the actual evidence that was presented to us, like camera footage, live video, everything, our own like personal bias, like conspiracies, everything like that.
Just really diving deep into what we believe about this and all the facts that's been presented.
Interviews are going to be in here too, so y'all are not going to be left out.
A lot of interviews, a lot of videos.
Our biased part, but we want to keep the majority of the facts and everything else unbiased so you can make your own opinions.
Also, we're going to talk about like the impact on the government and us, like citizens and stuff, because that's a really big deal. Katy Perry being a basic citizen going to space, like that's literally insane.
Main focus of this video today is just to look at the moon landing, see what we think is real, what we think is fake, and see how it's affecting us now.
Is it real or was it fake?
I don't know.
Okay, so really getting into this first segment and just talking about the history, how did it even come to be? Like, why did we even strive to go to the moon?
Yeah, so it started during the Cold War tensions because that was between the US and the Soviet Union. They were both racing to see like who would be able to get to the moon first, be the first person to successfully put a man on the moon.
Yeah.
And they both wanted to do this because they wanted that technological superiority in spaceflight. And then they also just wanted like power. They wanted dominance over the other countries because this was a time where all the wars were breaking out. So.
Remind me, who's the Soviet Union again?
It's Russia. Yeah.
Shoot, going against Russia.
Shoot.
Crazy stuff, bro.
Yeah, didn't they call that like the space race between the Soviet Union and the United States?
Yeah, it was a space race, and so like they were raising a ton of American like morale and stuff. So when
I thought we were getting pumped, bro. America.
Oh yeah.
They were probably raising so much money through that.
Do y'all know what day, like how they everything about that? Like the just overview of the, like, was it a mission? What type
Bobby
of stuff
Una, right?
Yeah, that was like July 20th, 1969, so that was a long time ago.
That's for sure.
That was a long time ago. And they had like multiple missions, like Apollo 11 all the way through like 17. But this specific one was the Eagle lunar module. And the first person on the moon was actually Neil Armstrong, which a lot of us know. That's like what our grandparents, like everybody taught us. He stayed on the moon for 6 hours and 39 minutes. And then they stayed there till July 21st, 1969. That's crazy to spend a day on the moon.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That'd be like a dream.
Thank you.
Yeah. Also, like people, what?
I did not know this. 12 people walked on the moon.
What?
Supposedly. I thought it was only
That's
4.
insane.
Being dead serious.
Buzz Aldrin, Neil Armstrong, and then there was like 2 other ones.
Pete Conrad,
in the first,
Alan Bean, Alan Shepard, Edgar Mitchell, David Scott, James Irwin, John Young, Charles Duke,
Oh my
Gene
gosh.
Are you talking about
and Harrison Schmidt? It went all the way to the Apollo 11 through 17. It went through all of those.
Oh my gosh.
Because 11 was the first couple.
Oh yeah.
And then the other missions, because they kept supposedly kept sending them back up.
Oh wow.
I for real didn't know that. Bro.
I didn't either.
Can we also just talk about the USA? Talk about how we're the only people able to land on the moon.
Yeah.
Russia hasn't done it. China hasn't done it.
Didn't they fake that moon landing? Like, didn't Russia fake that moon landing? And I don't remember exactly what age it was.
There has to be a deal under the table.
Yeah, there's
a deal. Because there's no way that we can do it, but like China, who has like some of the smartest people in the world, can't go.
Yeah, so
like,
actually, you're right. Like the Soviet Union, it's allegedly saying there was like this thing called First on the Moon. It was a book or a movie. It was allegedly explaining that Russia, the Soviet Union, they had faked a moon landing, and it kind of just explains how and like why they did.
Didn't it talk about like a lot of techniques that they could have used? What if we use those techniques?
No, literally.
Like,
Shoot, bro.
That's insane.
All right.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah,
worry.
we'll
We're gonna.
yeah,
deep
don't worry,
dive.
we'll get into that.
We'll take a deep dive into
So,
that one.
yeah.
we
Going
gotta
back
go.
to the
yeah,
history
going.
and the authenticity.
Yeah, and so going back to like the evidence
Yeah.
of the event, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have evidence like it was filmed with a small, robust camera. There was a scan converter, and that degraded the camera quality for everyone watching live.
Mm-hmm.
You think they'd develop better cameras for the
No,
first time on the moon?
literally,
Yeah, literally.
Camera.
It's
Yeah.
the fact that it was also delayed too.
Yeah. And then there were like tracking stations. There was Goldstone in California. That was a primary one. The Honeysuckle Creek and Tidbinbilla in Australia. And those were like DSN Deep Space Networks. And they were communicating with the space aircraft during the mission, supposedly.
Oh.
You know some stuff about like they brought back moon rocks?
Yeah, they
There's only
literally
1
brought
second.
like 382 kilograms of actual like moon rock. Well, actual moon rocks. I have no idea at this point.
Yeah.
They lie
For
about
real.
so much stuff.
Bro, they probably took them up.
Literally,
we're
they
government.
probably did.
I
Honestly.
can't, dude, what? Like, just.
Oh,
Anyway,
man.
what you
Yeah.
saying about those moon rocks, bro?
Yeah, I don't even know. The rocks apparently were like analyzed and verified. They took pictures. They took pictures on the landing site.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Wait, I actually like
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah,
so
for
serious. I actually know some stuff about this. Like they had
Spill.
yeah. So like the government to try
Mm-hmm.
and prove, because you know the theory that the space landing wasn't real was catching so much fire so quickly,
I bet.
and so they had like other scientists from around the world come and test the rocks that they got
Oh,
from the
okay.
moon supposedly.
No shot.
Yes,
bro.
and so the rocks, like the scientists said that the rocks were from the moon.
Yeah.
How would you know?
How? Yes. How
Yeah.
would you know?
The only way
Nobody's
you
been
know is if
there.
you've been
How?
to the moon.
Yeah.
But we're taking it from the moon, but we've never been there. Like,
Exactly.
Previously, so we have no evidence that it really
Like
was.
who knows? It was just crazy. I mean, they
Yeah.
were bringing in scientists from all over the world,
Mhm.
renowned scientists, to try and prove that the moon landing was real. They could just say, "Oh wow, this is a really unique rock. No one's found before it. Let's
Yeah.
just call it a moon rock." And
Literally, like it just. It's
They
crazy.
had to have
It's
been
insane.
scared because there's no way that not one of those scientists didn't say anything at all, and they all said the same thing. That
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
from the moon.
Someone has to doubt it.
Tons
All
of-
of this
yeah.
gives us so much fuel, like for doubting and just
Yeah.
to doubt. I mean, there was this whole thing about the waving flag
Yeah.
myth. I mean, did y'all hear about that?
Yeah.
Crazy stuff, bro.
Like, how is there wind on the moon?
No, because it's scientifically proven there's no wind on the moon.
Literally.
So tell me why our flag was waving.
Mm.
Please tell me.
wait, but didn't they like try to say it was a rippling effect from like
Yes.
like they like took a rod or something
Exactly.
and sewed it
It just-
in to like
It just
make
doesn't
it
make
look
sense.
like that?
Literally.
So stupid.
It's just, it doesn't make sense, man. It's just some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
This is gonna. Alright, now that we've gone through our history, let's go to our favorite part. Let's talk about our opinions and our bias. Now that we're into our personal beliefs, Bobby, start us off strong.
And cons to each side. So like if the private companies were to take over, like we would probably get more information about space exploration, and not as many things would be hidden from us. But also a con of that would be they're not as monitored, and they could kind of just do whatever they want. So like if government were to still lead space exploration, then it would definitely be more legal, I feel like. And even though we might not get as much information, it would still feel more like allowed, if you know what I mean.
Like the Katy Perry space flight, how do you feel about all those people that went on board? Because that was kind of just like a wasted mission, I feel like. What do you think?
I feel like that was kind of just straight up stupid, because like,
yeah.
why are we sending celebrities to space?
Yeah.
Like, if you're gonna send people to space, I feel like it needs to be for a purpose and for like research and stuff. So
Yeah. And that's kind of like what you were talking about, like how the government actually gets things done.
but private
yeah.
companies are up there sending celebrities to space.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Adrian.
Welcome.
Hey, now. Hi, Bobby.
Hey, so I have a question for you today.
Yeah,
Okay, should the government lead space exploration or should private companies take over?
I think it should definitely be private companies
Mhm.
because if it's the government doing it and they're the ones monitoring themselves, because who else would monitor them?
Yeah.
So if they're monitoring themselves, can we really trust what they're telling us, like the information they're giving out? You know, they're not really going to hold themselves accountable. There's no
Yeah.
one to hold them accountable.
That's
but
a really
themselves.
good point. Yeah. So like private companies, they're also sometimes funded by the government. How do you feel about that?
I think that private companies should fund themselves because I don't think it's our responsibility to pay for these things that
Yeah.
really is not necessary for us.
Yeah.
I think that if they want to fund themselves, then they should do that. But
Yeah.
the government shouldn't be using our money for that.
Especially because there's already NASA. They chose to make their own side private company.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Adele.
Of course.
Also, speaking on the corruption side of things, the moon landing. Okay, so you've seen in the video so far that we think that it's fake, that it never actually happened, and that it was actually very corrupt of the government to just make a fake video of us going to the moon. Like, that's literally insane that they did that. And Adele, Adrian, and Marley both mentioned that government can hide information and it can be a little corrupt, but also in the end, government does have a big role in a lot of things. Like, they're more responsible, they can protect us from some things, but things like that, they can't be ignored. The fact that they literally faked a moon landing, the corruptness of that is just crazy. And so like places like Elon Musk and SpaceX, those are private companies that have been working to bring people to space and actually just open access to the public to go to space. And I think that's an awesome thing, but also, like Adele said, she said that it should be funded by themselves or like by charities and stuff like that. They shouldn't be funded by the government because they chose to make their own private company. And Blue Origin, they just sent Katy Perry to space. Like, that was like how we talked with Adrian. They shouldn't really be doing like missions with public people. It should be more people who have been like training their whole lives to go to the moon because they deserve it more and they actually know what they're doing. And it's also stewarding resources because a lot of the times these missions are just wasted for no reason. It's more of a distraction than it is like a public good. And yeah, that's really all that we talked about. And thank you so much for watching this honor segment. Now let's get back to the podcast.
Tell us what you believe.
Alright, so honestly, I believe that the moon landing was fake because there's no way that we went to the moon, that the flag was literally waving when there's no wind in space. And we have literal
Explain that.
videos of astronauts straight up saying, we did not go to the moon. To like
Oh my
live media
dude,
like audiences.
That's insane.
Yeah,
Like-
literally.
And tell me.
I don't
Tell
know
me
how
y'all
people
still
could-
believe it happened,
yeah.
even though you've seen those videos.
Like, how are we getting away
No,
with
there's
this?
people who like fully
bad.
defend this. And it's
Yes.
just, it's crazy
God.
because how? Like, there's videos of us leaving the moon. It's like, here's a good laugh. Watch us leaving the moon. Just watch this video. It's literally us like levitating. And then
Yes.
just like,
Yes.
Go ahead. We're
like
about
a little
to show you.
space.
3, 2, 1, ignition. Right away, Houston. Vector grid.
That's
Excellent.
not real. Also,
Like, I understand
you
the
can't see the
atmosphere.
stars.
Like,
And they're trying to say that the sun is too bright by
There's
the
no
moon.
way.
That's why you can't see the stars. Are you kidding me?
it just doesn't make any sense.
But we can see the stars like clearly on Earth.
And
There's
it's
no
like-
way.
Of course, we be open, have an open mind.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
look at it from both perspectives, get evidence from both sides. But when the evidence is pointing in one direction, don't ignore it.
Honestly, before we get fully into all of our beliefs, I just want to say where a lot of conspiracies come from. For some people, because some people make some crazy outlandish stuff.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
100%.
There's
So,
like
yeah.
a lot of people just feel like a need for control, especially because they're just a citizen and they have like no power, and they distrust a lot of the authority, which I do not blame them because
Yeah.
they've done so many things like the JFK files. Like, why are y'all hiding that? what is there to hide?
Yeah, and it's
Like, that's
just
the thing.
now getting released. Like
Yeah.
that was so many years ago. That was a
Yeah.
couple decades ago, and
Exactly.
It was like in the
now
60s.
they're getting released.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
Literally.
they didn't want what they didn't want out.
Mhm.
'Cause
and
it
they
would-
still haven't released the
Martin
MLK
Luther-
files.
Yes, like it would have. It's proving them to be the bad guys,
Yes.
which
Yeah,
is
literally.
what
And
many believe.
If
Like,
it's going, like, if this manipulation of our country, of our people, is going as far back as, like, the moon landing, which was so early on, right?
Yeah.
How much farther does it go?
oh
like-
yeah,
Yeah.
Like, if they did that
That's
with such
insane.
ease, convince the whole nation,
Dude.
how far could have it, like, how far has it been
Yeah.
gone?
Like,
exactly.
that's insane. Because you know that's not the first time they've done something like that.
Mhm.
Especially because
Oh my
television wasn't like brand new in this time. It came out in like the 40s and the 50s.
Yeah.
So they
And
could have
and-
used so many things to just like put propaganda out there.
Oh, for sure.
Yes,
Mhm.
and it's also because
Yeah.
we know that, like, the CIA, the FBI, all those people, they have more advanced technology than we do.
Oh heck yeah.
Like, it is
yeah.
a proven fact. They have better technology, better devices to, like, edit things, to put things out there. Like, we don't even know what they're fully capable of
Yeah.
because they only let us know what they
That's
want us to know.
crazy.
Dude, to even think like this might have all been an experiment to see how well they can get us the
Exactly.
whole country
Yeah.
to believe in one thing. If you can get us to believe something like this,
Yeah.
Exactly.
imagine the tiny things you can get us to believe that could just mess with our everyday lives and
Yeah.
our worldviews.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because I know we all have a biblical worldview here.
Yeah.
This is how we're taking our look from everything.
Mhm.
It's from a biblical worldview. So
Yes.
it's just hard. Because, like, just why?
Yeah.
It's their need to exercise control.
Yeah.
We feel out of control because the government takes control and just
Yeah.
does what they want.
I saw this video last year
Mhm.
about all these news channels being told the same thing to tell us, the
Oh,
public.
shoot! I
all
saw that
the same
video,
thing.
bro!
Yes,
I saw
literally.
that video.
Yes, and they're all saying
You
the
see
word
that?
for word the exact same thing.
It's
Oh,
multiple different
right,
ways.
yes, I know what you're talking about.
News
And then they
stations.
clip it, and it's like they're literally saying the same exact sentences, the same
Maybe a
paragraphs.
couple words rephrased.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, that's mass media. Like,
Yeah.
you're feeding
Yes.
us that.
Literally. And they
Yes.
were putting it, they put it all together. They put every clip
Yes.
side by side and they said every word in
lined
sync.
up.
And
In
this is
sync.
why there's like so much like conspiracies nowadays, because it's that
Bro.
conspiracy mindset,
Yeah.
that like psychology behind it. It's just that we have been fed so many lies, so many things
Yeah.
that people just can't take it anymore, and they
Yeah.
have to let people know.
They're scared.
And they fed us so many lies, we don't know what to believe now. That's the whole
Exactly.
point.
Yeah.
So then that's how social media
Literally.
chambers
Yes.
like
Oh my
Give
gosh,
us
yes.
a couple lies. What do we believe now?
Yeah.
So now the stuff we do believe in, we have to question.
mhm.
And now that we're questioning everything, it's so much easier to like get in your head and just like,
Yes. That's just like where the role of internet communities, misinformation, like all of
Yeah.
that is coming out on the internet now, on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube,
for
like
sure, man.
all of these things. There's being documentaries made, there's being
Yeah.
movies made, there's what is it? Books like being written by people who
Yeah.
have PhDs, you know.
Who know what they're talking about
Yes.
too. Like, and not government people either. It's real everyday people who have like PhDs who know what
Yeah.
they're talking about and who aren't afraid to speak out, who are like really bold. Sometimes even in their faith if they're Christian,
yes.
to just say the truth. Okay.
Buzz
Right.
Aldrin or whatever.
They literally said that
Mm-hmm.
multiple times. It's not a one-time thing.
Yes.
It's just, dude.
And it's not like they messed up by accident, like they accidentally slipped up and they said something. No,
Not
they
he
went on a
stuck
TV
with that,
show.
bro.
Yeah,
Yes,
literally.
yes.
He
They went on a
actually
t-
did.
He said it in front of
literally.
all that
Yes.
media.
Yeah, they literally went on a TV show and an interviewer literally asked him, was it real? Or he was just basically talking about it. He's like, oh, no, we didn't even go to the moon.
Dude,
Mhm.
insert
Like,
that clip.
didn't even-
Insert that clip.
Yeah.
As land on the moon,
No, you
which
didn't.
was
No, you didn't.
what?
You watched animation. See, you associated what you... Houston, Tranquility Base. The Eagle has landed.
That's just
Man, how about that?
that was very exciting.
Not a bad line.
Yeah.
God, he did.
Now that we've discussed all that, y'all want to jump into Katy Perry? on the moon.
Yeah.
Or not on the moon.
Yeah,
but in
now that we've
space.
looked at all that, like, crap, like, all the conspiracy stuff, crap, like, all the conspiracy stuff.
Just crazy.
Let's talk about Katy Perry. Yeah.
Really.
Cause tell me why she on the moon. Tell me why. Tell me why she went to 10 minutes.
10 minutes. And also, what'd she do over there? She put her tour dates
Oh
on
my.
there.
Oh my god, literally. And then she
Very
like
happy
she
to
got
be
off.
back on
It
Earth.
was so impactful. You know what?
I was kissing the ground, actually.
I feel
Insert video.
connected to love. So connected to love. You never know how much love is inside of you, how much love you have to give, how loved you are until the day you launch.
Alright, now that you saw that, let's
I
jump
love
into our final segment and our final part of this wonderful podcast.
Woohoo.
Here we go.
Oh, whoa, whoa.
We're diving back into it, going on to talk about the impact on citizens and the government.
Yeah.
Please take it away, Bobby. Talk to
Alright.
me about it.
So, we're gonna be talking about space then versus now.
For sure, for sure.
And actually, like, in the past, NASA wasn't even as big as it is now. It really wasn't. Like, I don't think really anybody talked about it. They didn't
Yeah.
really do much. They didn't have many missions at all. And now they're having, like, missions
Oh,
back
shoot.
to back to
So it
back.
blew up during the moon landing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
Maybe they're trying to
Wow.
promote that.
And it actually wasn't even until the USSR.
There's NASA, they're calling us.
So, like, NASA wasn't even, like, a big thing till the whole space race started. When the USSR sent the Sputnik into space. And then that's when the whole, like, space race began. Yeah,
I
it was
guess we
insane.
understand why.
Yeah, literally. And so they just really wanted their own domination, like the Soviet domination, but we also wanted that for ourselves. So that's how the whole race started. NASA literally went from being barely anything at all, not even really being known, to like absolutely having missions back to back, going to the moon like out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's almost like, they were
literally.
using that to promote NASA and to
Yeah.
get more like influence for
Yeah.
it.
What's NASA really doing? I know we
Yeah.
talked about that, but what's it really doing?
Now it's gotten to a point where they just send basic people like you and me to space when that wasn't even like possible probably like 50 years ago.
Literally.
Like,
yo.
It wasn't
Mm.
possible.
It wasn't possible. It probably
It
wasn't.
still isn't possible.
God.
Like, why do you think it's so hard for us to send people to the moon now? Like Elon Musk and stuff. When
Literally.
we had less technology, less information 50 years ago.
Even 10 years ago, this was unheard of. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, SpaceX comes up. Blue Origin comes up.
But
Yeah.
they're still
When
all
did this
struggling
come
to send
from?
these people to space.
Yeah. They need government
Like,
funding. So you
Katy
know that the government is all in that.
Like, there's this whole discussion about how the windows outside, how they were so big, but on like a real spaceship and like on a real rocket, the windows had to be tiny and compact because if they were that big,
yeah,
They would shatter.
yes, it was completely different for the Katy
that's
Perry,
insane.
that whole shuttle.
Yeah, so like 1969, space was a Cold War strategy. We were using it as a way to show our technological superiority because
100%.
the Cold War was about a period of geopolitical tension and ideological conflict
Yep,
between the United States and the Soviet Union, you know, their allies, other communist nations.
yeah.
To kind of dumb it down, it was just showing who's better
Yeah,
at
literally.
this point,
It
since
was just
we
a
were,
dominance
you know,
thing.
all fighting, killing each other.
50 or 60 years
We
ago.
can fake so much more with social media.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It
deep
takes
fake
so
AI and
little
stuff.
Yeah.
for these people to believe some influencer.
Oh yeah.
Dude, if you got
Your
a million
average
followers,
grandmother-
I'm believing you. Like, that's how people are nowadays, and it's insane. Like,
And it's easier to make people believe things as well with all the deepfake AI that's been coming out.
Oh,
yo,
yeah.
that actually gets me sometimes.
The most like horrible version of it that you see on Facebook and you're like, oh, that's hilarious. That's tricking like people's like grandparents,
literally.
people's parents even.
Like, you're
And
saying
it's
that's
like-
hilarious. No, it's not.
Like,
Like,
you're
not.
deceiving the working
It's
people.
programming you.
Which-
Not just getting stuff from other people. Like, you're hurting the image of whoever you're using.
Yeah.
This thing with Katy Perry and stuff, it's been such a social media driven spectacle. Like, people through social media, they get curious about different things and they're exploring like the possibilities of what could be through social media. Like, they are looking at these events and they're believing them. It's shaping our next generation.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure, bro.
Because, like, now, what are our children gonna believe?
Exactly. And it's just becoming more and more of a spectacle. Like, it's not even for discovery, as people are trying to say it is. It is merely just a, like, flex for celebrities now. It's like, a celebrity trip to space. Because we don't need supermodels and pop stars going to space. We need our actual aerospace engineers, the people who are training for this their whole lives. Not just someone who's going to, like, broadcast their tour
Who's
set
going
list.
to inspire and uplift others. And especially women to appreciate and protect the earth. Quote, and I quote, Katy Perry.
Literally.
And
like,
I quote.
Where did that come from? She pulled out of thin air. You know that's not what that's about.
And she's received so much backlash from so many people. But you can tell all of the major, like, news outlets that are very held by government control, they support it. They try to put in a positive light.
Are we shocked?
Like
Are
CNN.
we shocked? Because, like,
Guess what?
they're liberals.
Oh.
Who said it?
It's the liberals.
We're not gonna push our political ideas. You're doing it. You're just doing it so subtly that most people don't even notice. This moon landing debate is getting heated, bro. It just brings in so much more stuff. Like, it's just...
And it's just like, what is it? Katy Perry, she literally said she just bought a ticket for Jeff Bezos'
No,
space
stop.
flight.
Are you being dead serious? That's
Yes.
how it happened? I don't
That's
know,
how
like,
it
the
happened.
whole
She said
story.
she bought a ticket.
Wait, actually, I didn't know that either.
No.
This is the
She
first
bought
time
a
hearing
ticket
about
2
this.
years ago. And from 2 years ago.
This existed 2 years ago?
Nah, fam, nah.
So, yes, this has been in the planning. It's been planned. And so she bought a ticket apparently 2 years ago to go on this flight. And so it's just like, she has no actual value to our country's history, to especially space exploration. We do not need a pop star kissing daisies and saying, look at the moon. They barely even went to the moon. But let's just be honest, they basically went on a roller coaster super high in the air and then came back down.
Quite literally. 11 minutes.
Because it was a
like,
10-minute flight.
Yeah.
Flight, mind you. They weren't ever actually in space. Like, do you understand what I mean?
Yes.
Because it's like, look at the moon. Yeah, the moon is still as far away from you as it is on Earth.
We didn't even talk about this, but also, along with the biblical ideology, there's belief that we're not even allowed to break the fermentation, so there's no way we could have even gone to space or the moon.
Exactly.
Like, there's it's like, it shows in the Bible and stuff how it talks about it that we have never made it out of the fermentation or layer above the earth.
Yeah.
That's what we are, like, that's how far we can go. We cannot go past it, which is why this, like, is another possibility that this just couldn't have happened.
Even like the Tower of Babel, it didn't even get that far, but God chopped it off like right at the top. Just
He knew it's not, you can't go that far.
Been going around that the only intentions of this space flight were, like, they were to make it a spectacle and to act as an intergalactic billboard for Blue Origin, which is Jeff Bezos' like space flight. Also, Jeff Bezos just trying to get more people to buy into Blue Origin, just like, you know, Elon Musk has been trying to get people to buy into whatever his space stuff is called. It's like SpaceX or something.
Something like that.
And they need money for it because this costs like millions of dollars to do this stuff. That's why NASA's the main place to do all this. And then these like private side companies are trying to just be like NASA, which I'm not saying NASA's the best either, but
it's crazy,
and they just pushed this so much on social media. They built up to it. Like, I saw things, it's a 10-minute space flight, but why was the broadcast hours long? Why was it hours long?
Literally.
And other celebrity missions, they do not have as much, like, there's not as much shown on the media as
Yeah.
it has so much emphasis on the space flight because they were trying to claim it was the first all-woman flight to space.
We don't need
Yeah.
all women in space.
If we're
Thing.
gonna have
Yeah.
all women in space, how about it be an all-woman crew that is
Who's
actually
capable?
able
Yeah,
to
like,
work
who deserve
the
it?
rocket?
Yeah,
Are you kidding
can't
me?
even make it like
Like,
believable.
we do not need a supermodel and like a millionaire's wife and,
And a
a
singer.
pop star. What?
be so for real.
And if y'all really want it to be like about
Pops are like,
empowering
fell off my
women,
list.
like if y'all want it to be about actually empowering women, send people who like women who genuinely deserve this and who
Yes.
have worked for it. So it shows like, hey, women can do this.
Yeah.
These are women who literally just get on stage and sing. Like they have not put in all this crazy hard work like people who work at NASA or like who are genuine scientists.
Reaction to this, half of it was just completely artificial, completely fake, just stupid liberals, you know. And then the other half was people actually calling out the reality of the situation and just how like
100%.
horrible, like how horribly they painted this picture and how horrible it paints a picture for our younger generations.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%, bro.
Yeah.
Dude, really talk.
All right. So let's blow through these real quick, okay?
Mhm.
Citizen impact and access.
Very important stuff.
Yeah. So like Katy Perry and the new crew and
Yeah,
stuff.
it's literally becoming, it's
Yeah.
literally becoming space tourism.
Yeah.
Who gets to go and at what cost?
Yeah.
For sure.
And it's
So-
mostly just like wealthy people going,
Mhm.
like Katy Perry and scientists, and then Jeff Bezos' fiance, like obviously.
Yeah, just people who can afford the
Yeah.
$250,000 to millions of dollars. Like
Mhm.
these tickets are worth that. And we're giving them away to people who can just merely afford it, not people who have trained their whole lives for it.
They're asking for like a refundable deposit of $150,000.
Which shows just
That's a
how
mortgage.
expensive it
Yeah.
is.
I know,
Literally.
bro.
Yeah, no, that's a mortgage on a house. And also that just shows how expensive it is to build these flights.
Yeah.
And then they also, the impact on our environment is horrendous. It's horrible because literally the amount of radiation that is just going back out into our system, all empowering woman flight that's supposed to inspire us, but really all it's doing is sending pop stars into space and killing our planet, doesn't seem very inspiring to me.
yeah.
It also doesn't seem like we're being good stewards in the sense that
Yeah.
God told us to take care of the world, so why are we poisoning it?
Yeah.
Exactly. Like there are like STEM interests and like youths that just want to learn more about stuff like this. Like
Yeah, and those kids genuinely have an interest to like steward the earth and learn more and like bring our future like together.
yes.
But like people like Katy Perry are just wasting materials that like we could be using for a lot of other important things that we need right now. Yeah, it's just a lot.
Yeah, so like is the space a public good or is it an elite playground? That's the question right now.
Actually,
Yes, space is an elite playground,
like,
but it can also be used for public good
yeah,
because it helps us to discover what we need to discover if we actually even go.
yeah,
But it's also an elite playground. This is just something for them to say, oh yeah, I went there. I make millions of dollars and yeah, I can go there so you can do it too. No, you can't. You can't do that unless you plan on spending $150K to $1 million.
literally.
Or unless you plan on spending your whole life training for something like this
Yeah.
to not even sometimes get chosen. So the government and the policy shift around
It's just
this,
crazy.
it's insane. Like NASA's current focus is like commercial partnerships, you know?
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, all sorts of stuff. They're trying to make them less expensive, save the taxpayers' money, and like allocate resources, you know, more
Yeah.
efficiently.
Yep.
But they're leveraging like private sector innovation over that.
Good for them that they're trying to steward their resources and make things less expensive. But just like things like we've been talking about, just like just waste resources.
Yeah.
For people who like
Exactly.
actually care. Oh, it's just like an elite playground.
Yeah. and so
literally, just
NASA's trying to expand the access to space by bringing down the cost and doing all sorts of stuff in like private sectors. but is it working? Because have we even seen the results of those actions yet?
So far, it's a big fat no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And everything we do is either like,
It's just, we're just doing it for our own good. We're not doing it for the good of the people.
it's just lies, manipulation, and if it's not that, it's barely any effort being put towards the things that matter, like the things that we need to be caring about and we need to be exploring.
Yeah.
And we're not denying that the government has done good for us. Yes, 100%. They do create organization and everything.
Yeah.
But they're humans. They're sinful. They're corrupt. They are a heck of a lot more corrupt than most of us.
Yeah, of
Because
course.
being a politician does that to you. You gotta look for the good and the bad, but you can't ignore the bad.
Yeah.
You have to look at it all.
Honestly, the corruptness that you were talking about, like, they say that they just want to make it less expensive and they want to, like, make us pay less because that's our taxpayer money that we're paying for these flights. But really, is that really their priorities? Because they're also expanding access at the same time to more, people like Katy Perry or Jeff Bezos' fiance. Like, what are their priorities? Or is it just a show, honestly?
Hey,
Exactly.
$1 million question right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally.
No matter what your thoughts are on this, space exploration is becoming more and more important to society, and it's only going to get greater.
Yeah.
But while we do this, we need to keep in mind the thoughts of our people and our nation, and just have that in the back of our heads as we develop these new things for exploration.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, steward our
Yup.
resources.
So, just some key insights from each segment.
We really reiterated about that history. We talked about it. We were just talking about the dates, the times, how we even got to this conclusion of going to the moon. Because that's crazy in itself together. And this helped bring us to why do we believe that the moon landing is fake?
Yeah.
Because it's perfect to have insight and pick other people's brains because not everyone thinks alike. So it's perfect to get outside resources to help with your inside resources.
Yeah.
And that just brought us to Katy Perry and how this just affects the government and the citizens and everything. And just
how
our resources.
social media has been in
100% social media. It just helped to discuss and bring it all together. That not just affects of ourselves, but of our world, of our of the people in the world, just generations
the
to come.
impact is crazy, and the government and the policy they shift every year with all these new information, all these new acts, all the 100%. New research that's been put out. And so those are just some key insights from all the sections we did, all the areas we covered.
Just to really know.
Yeah.
And just impart me some closing thoughts right here.
Mm-hmm.
Wrap me up real quick.
What does the moon landing and modern even space travel say about who we even trust now and what we believe and how we dream?
That is a beautiful question for you to think on. You tell us about that later.
Goodbye.
See you later. Come on, guys.
Oh.
Ba-dum-bum.